Okay, Pierre, let's have a look at. So, first of all, I can see that the word count is low, so you're going to need to come up with 400 or 500 other words. I would say it's directed by Quentin Tarantino. I think you need to talk about it's how this is the most. This is it's the denouement of the film. You need to look that word up, and Tarantino presents the audience here with the fantasy of Hitler and some of his most important acolytes being killed in a cinema, and this is sort of an in-joke about the power of cinema, if you like. Now, don't use the number 2. You've got to use the word 2. And these guys aren't ushers, are they? They are 2 members of the Bastards. And you could say this is a montage showing their preparation. And the cutting is quite quick. There are whip pans and tilts to emphasize the speed at which they're working. And sound is really important here to emphasize the efficiency of what they're doing. They use a zoom shot on the gun, doesn't really do it for me, so I think you need to be a bit more specific. At one point, the camera zooms in on which gun? Are there 2, or is it the one that he's got strapped to his wrist? To emphasize the importance of this weapon in the scene that is about to follow. I think you're sort of jumping ahead here, but I see what you're saying. I mean, I'd almost say this about the 2 guys outside the box. You know, Hitler's status is confirmed by the fact that he has 2 people guarding the door to the box. Yeah. You could talk about the champagne and how that represents the luxury, the luxurious setting that the Nazis have got for themselves, and that champagne represents sort of France's most luxurious product. So it's kind of ironic that it's used to attack the guard. This now or never moment is a little bit too informal. Here I would say Tarantino rather than Tarantino cuts quickly. Now this, I think you're right, it is ironic. So Tarantino uses irony here. It was dramatic irony because the audience suspect what is going to happen. And Tarantino is deliberately juxtaposing the film on the screen with the film that he's creating. Right, so you need this needs more context, okay? And you've missed out the conversation between Hitler and Goebbels. And I think you should say something a little bit about that. The key thing about her on the cinema screen is that she fills up the frame. She is, you should explain that she's the character who owns the cinema and she's Jewish, and she escaped from the Jew hunter. I can't remember what the name of the character is, the Christopher Waltz character at the beginning of the film, and has been looking for revenge for the death of her family ever since. So you need to place it in the narrative, I think. You can't have an establishing shot halfway through a scene. The establishing shot introduces the cinema. We know we're in the cinema at that point. I think we need to talk about how Tarantino cuts at one point to the projection room, where in an overhead shot where we can see the two bodies lying there, which refers back to a scene before this sequence. Okay, I would say it's traveling from right to left. I would talk about the aesthetic. I would talk about how this shot emphasizes the significance of the cigarette butt. What kind of shot is this? A face shot. See, this is the kind of specific terminology I think you need to talk about. A close-up of Hitler's face. And yes, I would say this is irony, not dramatic irony. I don't think that this fire is... If you're watching this in the cinema, you don't think, oh my goodness, the cinema is about to catch fire. Or maybe if you do, it's not shot like a horror film that we're supposed to feel the pain of the people being burnt alive. We're much more aligned with the bastards. I wouldn't agree with this. Given that atomic bombs have a mushroom cloud and look very specific. Yes, I think you should have said that earlier. Yeah, this is fine. Repetitive, over-exaggerated, unnecessary or superfluous, maybe. Now this... Okay, so let's just read this. This says to me that you should have spent a little bit more time on this. This emphasized this as on Hitler's outfit, the gun become bigger and bigger, as if he was involved in a bombing. Okay, let's have a look at the mark scheme here. We're down basic ability to structure ideas and use appropriate language to communicate. Okay, so any of that is going to drag you down into level 2, and this is where, so C is around about here, and we're talking around about here, which is down in level 2. So we're sort of really down the bottom end of the Ds. I know you're not writing like that all the way through, but there shouldn't be something like that in the first draft that I'm looking at. So you will need to make some improvements there. Yes. I'm not sure what you mean here. Have a look at that. Yeah, definitely. I think it's worth talking about how Tarantino uses this scene as a sort of statement, as a kind of lurid, overblown statement about Nazis. But I think you need to stick in a bit more analysis, and I think this piece at the moment is going to push it to get into the bottom of the D's, so it needs a bit more work on it, Pierre. Okay. Thanks. Enjoyed reading it though.